This last Monday, March 11th, changed everything. As we're all looking this way, there's a whole nother narrative going on this way. In today's video, I'm going to break down how something that was put out for the banks in the last year ended, which is going to put them in a very, very tough position. I'm here to tell you guys the banks are in a very tough position in a liquidity crisis right now. And it's not by chance that you're seeing a flight to safety to cryptocurrency. The very thing that you told you as a pet rock that it was used for money laundering is now the chosen flight to safety. My name is Coach JV, and what I do is to make very complex macro and microeconomic strategies very simple so the normal everyday person can implement them. I have two amazing resources for you guys. Number one, I'm a licensed insurance agent. I have licensed insurance agents in all 50 states, and we help you understand how to insure your wealth in volatile times. I always say it's not do you need insurance? It's what type of insurance do you need for your family? That's an description down below or in my social media platform. We also have an absolutely free guide on the back end of every video. I explain exactly what I'm doing, a free book on exactly what I'm doing, which breaks it down. That's in the description of this video or my social media platform. So let's dive right into this. So on Monday, March 11th, this bank term funding program ended. So many of you may not know, but we had the bank collapse has happened. We had Silicon Valley Bank that collapsed last year. And now, why did they collapse? Which we're going to break that down in just a moment in the video. They collapsed because the bond yields inverted. Okay. We've been in a free money environment, low interest rates for a very, very long time. When those bond yields inverted, it sucked the liquidity out of the banks. Well, unbeknownst to us, they created the bank term funding program, which allowed banks to have funding over the last year. Well, guess what? That program ended. Now I'm going to show you this video from ITM Trading, which she breaks down the BTFP shutdown, starts today, which was on last Monday, and she breaks down a really section of this one. I want to show you. I recommend go watching the whole article on this, which will give you a lot of detail. But I want you to listen to this part of it, and then I'm going to show you what Jerome Powell said at his Fed meeting just recently.
When interest rates were hiked, banks were put under a tremendous amount of pressure. As interest rates rose, the value of their existing bond holdings declined, meaning that they were suffering from significant unrealized losses. Unrealized losses, combined with little to no reserves, meant that the minute that depositors withdrew more than usual, banks were forced to sell these assets at a loss, revealing just how little capital they had, triggering classic bank runs. The US government, the Federal Reserve, and the news all claimed banks that failed last year because of this exact situation were one-offs, flukes. But you and I both know that that's not true, and the BTFP creation actually proves it, because you can't have it both ways. You can't claim that these are isolated incidents, but then also rush to create an emergency bank bailout program. You see, the banks that failed last year, their financial positions actually represented the majority of banks' financial positions across the country. The Federal Reserve knew this, and they realized very quickly that they were about to have a catastrophic problem on their hands.
Okay, so I'll leave it there, and you can go watch the full interview on ITM. Okay, so this is the actual bank term funding program off of the Federal Reserve's website. Okay, this was on March 11, 2024, the end of the Fed tool that buoyed, does that be buoyed? My dyslexia, sorry. Buoyed U.S. banks put reserve in spotlight. So bank term funding program set to expire on Monday, which was last Monday. Sorry, this is Wednesday. Liquidity and focus in central bank looks to wind down QT. Well, let's hear it straight from the Fed's mouth. This was 5 days ago. This was in Jerome Powell was in front of Congress, and he's going to talk about, yes, some banks will fail. This is the whole narrative, guys. This is it. This is the narrative that I've been talking about over and over and over again in nauseum. The financial system is changing as you know it, guys. You can't just print money like this for that long of a period of time in a low interest rate environment, then all of a sudden jack up interest rates, invert the bond yield, and suck the liquidity out of the banks. And now what you're about to see is the public is not going to be able to service their debt. The public is not going to be able to service their debt. And every single dollar in the system is someone else's debt. You're seeing the great financial reset, guys. And I'm not saying the banks are going to collapse, but what you will see, though, what you will see is a monopolization of the smaller banks. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that you're not going to have your money if your bank shut down. It's then they also have the bank bailing committee, which Jay Clayton is on the board of the bank bailing committee. The bank bailing committee was created in 2012 and was enacted in 2023. And the bank bailing committee is different than a bailout. A bank bail in is when they take all the debt and they turn it into equity and they sell it to another bank that can acquire them, which is different than a bailout where they just inject money into the bank. Okay. So all these banks were riding off these loans, guys. They no longer can take those loans anymore. So this was 5 days ago, ironically, where they're talking to him about the health and sustainability of the banking system. Listen to what he says.
Office and retail and other ones that have been affected a lot. We identify them and we are in dialogue with them around, do you have your arms around this problem? Do you have enough capital? Do you have enough liquidity? Do you have a plan? You're going to take losses here. Are you being truthful with yourself and with your owners? And so we've been working with them. And so for some time we've been doing that. And, this is a problem that we'll be working on for years more, I'm sure. There will be bank failures, but this is not the big banks. If you look at the very big banks, it's not a first order issue for any of the very large banks. It's more, smaller and medium-sized banks that have these issues.
Okay, he just told you there will be bank failures. It's not the big banks, guys. You don't have to worry about the big banks. It's not the brothers and sisters on Wall Street that are, or excuse me, the big banks that are tapped into the Federal Reserve. It's the smaller regional banks, the mom and pop banks. Just like in 1929, when I think 11,000 big banks or banks were underneath the Federal Reserve, and they gave the loans to the big banks to monopolize the smaller banks, guys. It's a repetitive cycle over and over again. That is why BlackRock is flying out to cryptocurrency. That's why these asset managers now are getting super excited about cryptocurrency. That's why they approved the Bitcoin ETF. When it's too late is when the public starts coming in. When it's too late, guys, there's only a couple thousand views on these videos, man. There's only 5% of the population that has access to crypto. People aren't paying. You're a warrior. People are not paying attention to what's going on. And there will never be an opportunity. There'll never be an opportunity like this ever again in our history for Main Street to get a piece of Wall Street. That's why they push so hard on it. So here's exactly what I'm doing, like I share on every single video. I have a exit strategy. Okay. I'm exiting 50% of my portfolio from this point to 2026, or when it hits my exit targets. I use Merlin, the smartest way to track your crypto. You can download it 30 days for free. You can see all your exchanges in one place. You can set up your exit targets. So what happens is, for example, when SHIB just went parabolic just recently, I was able to exit 2 exit target points. So it hit my first target and my second target. I was pulled profits. I put my money aside for taxes. And for me personally, my exact paradigm is I'm max funding my index universal life policies. The reason why I do that is the richest man in Babylon. I can access the cash value of my policies tax-free to buy more assets. So when I access it tax-free, I'm looking back, should I buy more crypto? Would I buy more businesses, equity in businesses? Would it be adding real estate to my portfolio? Now, where would I go with that money? The key to this is understanding to have an exit plan, because this won't happen again in our living history. I mean, it doesn't make sense. It's completely unnatural for someone to make, in 24 months, 300 grand, $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, when it takes a lifetime to make that type of money in a regular job. It's just not natural. That's why they're trying to get involved. That's why they're trying to regulate it. And when they do regulate it, when they do get involved, that volatility is going to start to suck out of it, which is very important. That's why it's a crazy opportunity right now, but you got to have an exit plan. You got to be very, very careful. You got to have financial literacy. You got to understand the emotion of these markets, because what goes up will come down dramatically, and it will come down hard and fast and furious. So family, the banks are in a liquidity crisis right now. Every single dollar is someone else's debt. Your financial system is changing as you know it. And I believe it's the greatest opportunity in human history to build wealth for your family, to finally free your family financially, spiritually, and mentally. And you guys know my foundation is God and following the life of Jesus Christ. That's what makes me the richest man in the world. All this can be taken from me, and I am the richest man in the world. I got my family, my faith, food, shelter. I got all the things I need. And when I realized I know nothing, I gained everything. And when I realized I had everything, I got everything. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. As we always say, warriors, rise, get your shit together. Let's go. Love you guys.